we're going to take a look at this problem here now. Home ownership rate is defined as the proportion of households that own the home in which they live, based on data from 2010 to 2022. The home ownership rate for the Greater Phoenix area can be modeled by this quadratic function. H of t is equal to that, where t is the number of years since the end of 2010. Okay, so explain the meaning of A, B, and C in the problem context. Okay, so we always start with C, which is a 67.5 value, and that tells us that at the end of 2010, 67.5% of households were owner occupied. In other words, the person that owned the house is the person that lived in the house. Okay, because this is looking at home ownership rate, which was defined as the proportion of households that own the home in which they live. So H of T is going to give us a proportion, which is in this case a percent of the households that are owned by the people who live in them. So 67% of households were owner occupied at the end of 2010. If we look now at B, B is the instantaneous rate of change at the vertical intercept. So right at the end of 2010, so right at the end of 2010, the percent of households that were owner occupied the percent of households that were owner occupied was decreasing, right? Because this is a negative value here. So that means the percent of households that were owner occupied was decreasing by 2.319% per year. So there were 67.5 households that were owner occupied, 67.5% of the households were owner occupied, but that number was decreasing by 2.319% per year. Okay, so now we're going to look at parameter A, and the parameter A is telling us how the rate of change is changing. So we know that right at the vertical intercept, right there at the end of 2010, the percent of households that were owner occupied, that was decreasing by 2.139% each year. However, it's not a linear function, right? We know that this is a quadratic function. So that means that the rate of change, the rate of change is increasing at a constant rate of 2 times that A value. It's increasing at a constant rate of 0.396% per year each year. Okay, so looks like in 2010, we had 67.5% of households that were owner occupied. Right at that moment, the percentage was dropping by 2.319% per year. However, that rate of change is increasing at a constant rate of 0.396 per year every year.